Hi there. One thing you may not know about me is that I've been a hitman for decades now, and in my work I've commit arson, grievous bodily harm, destruction of property, and handling salmon in suspicious circumstances.
Hey, drop the fish! You hear?
Recently, I think my actions have caught up to me. I go to sleep at night and think of all the times I've thrown people over balconies and crushed them with great presses, and I think I'm done with that life. A change in career will probably be a wise choice, but my CV isn't particularly great. I don't think Tesco will take on the likes of me, so I've decided to continue with my job, but on my own terms. I don't want to lay a finger on any of my targets, I don't want to knock out any civilians and steal their clothes. In fact, I want to operate as closely within the law as possible, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Here's how I tried to beat the levels of Hitman 3 without breaking the law. First up, we're off to Dubai, and I think it's time to get an idea of the things I cannot do. Possession of firearms is illegal. Assault, illegal. Stealing, illegal. Knocking out an innocent civilian with a crowbar and dragging their body into a wardrobe. Jesus Christ. That last one is particularly troublesome considering that this game is mostly about obtaining disguises in order to reach your target, and most of the time you need to knock someone out to do it. Luckily for us, these levels have a few of these white drawstring bags that contain disguises, meaning I don't have to go around in my duck hoodie all the time. However, not every disguise can be obtained this way. For example, Dubai doesn't have the penthouse guard outfit, which would have been very helpful, so we're going to have to plan accordingly. That's why I'm also letting myself use starting locations, as they allow me to start the level in a particular outfit. Anyway, it's time we got started. In this level, we're at the top of the tallest building in the world, and we've got two targets, Marcus Stuyvesant and Carl Ingram. At first, I thought following this mission story could be the way to go, as it gets both Marcus and Carl in the same room. However, to do this I would have to hack into the building's admin system, a clear violation of the Computer Misuse Act, and I'd also need a disguise that can't be obtained without strangling a poor worker, so I've had to look for alternatives. The route I'm going to take requires me starting in a staff outfit in the penthouse suite. I'm going to bring some coins, obviously we can't bring a gun so the banana will have to do. After loading into the level, I immediately leave to go to the ground floor. Obviously, the tricky part about this challenge is working out how to kill the targets without laying a finger on them. You can set up accidents, but most of them require you shooting a chandelier or pushing them over a ledge, which definitely doesn't feel legal. So I'm either going to have to set things up so that someone else does my dirty work for me, or have them be victim to their own gross negligence. I then go through the bar into this maintenance cupboard, which contains our first bag with the security guard outfit. Now I know what you're thinking, window ledge. This is stealing. No, it's not, it's borrowing. Rest assured, before I exit the level, I will retrace my steps and return the outfits I used, along with anything else. I will leave each location with no more than what I came with, and in the same outfit I arrived in, because stealing is wrong. I distract this guard by throwing a coin, which he then proceeds to steal from me, which is so not on, and I get into the guard outfit. Next I go downstairs to the staff room, and I'm feeling pretty hungry, so I take the banana, making sure I do so in full view of the employees, just so I know it doesn't belong to anyone. The plan I have is to follow a mission story where I try out to be Marcus Stuyvesant's new security guard, and to do this I need to borrow these transfer papers and head up to this room, where I meet with Marcus and part ways with the paper. As I said at the start of the mission, we are atop the tallest building in the world, and my goal is to make sure they appreciate just how tall it is. My target then escorts me to this balcony where he tasks me with throwing these knives to test my knife throwing skills, and since I impressed him I'm now his new security guard, and I get time alone with him, in which he stands very close to the edge of the building. In normal Hitman rules I'd be able to kick him over the edge to take him out, but in this challenge I can't do that, so it's time to bring out my secret weapon. My packed lunch. While his back is turned, I place the banana on the balcony. Now I know what you're thinking, window ledge. That's littering, you monster. But I argue that's not the case. I'm simply leaving my property in a safe place, which I plan on picking up when I'm hungry, unless of course some unforeseen circumstances were to occur. I place 2 coins in these specific locations and throw a third to make a noise, which he will investigate. Now, we wait. Marcus's greed gets the better of him and he proceeds to take the coins for himself. And despite the banana clearly being visible, he decides to go for the third coin and... there he goes. A death at the hands of greed and negligence. A terrible accident, really. Unlike other accident kills you can get, this is completely his fault. You can't really blame someone for standing under a chandelier I dropped, but you definitely can blame them for going too close to the edge of a building and ignoring the very obvious hazard. But our job isn't done. We still need to get to Carl Ingram. I make my way to the security room where I take another banana because I'm just so hungry, and then I open this safe with a code that was revealed to me in a dream. Inside is this evacuation keycard which is pivotal to my plan, and then I return the security guard outfit before making my way back up to the penthouse where I started the mission. Now there are a multitude of ways to take out Carl in the penthouse, but they're all a bit too physical for my liking, so we're gonna have to find a way to get him to other parts of the building, which is where the keycard comes in. When swiped, an alarm will sound, which prompts Ingram and Stuyvesant, God rest his soul, to evacuate the building. First they run down a floor to the helipad, then back up to the penthouse before parachuting off the building. If we don't take them out before they do this, then we lose the mission. Luckily, the helipad is exactly where I need Mr. Ingram, but before I swipe, let's address the big red exclamation mark here. This denotes what the game considers an illegal action, so it's easy to think that we can't do any of these actions for this challenge, but I disagree. Most of the actions considered illegal are definitely not allowed, but there are also some that aren't considered illegal by the game, but definitely are. For example, lacing this guy's drink with 25 times the lethal dose of rat juice before his very eyes doesn't count as illegal, but picking up this walking stick does. So we can't just take the game's word for it. But anytime I do an action deemed illegal by the game's terms, I'll make sure to present my case to you guys first. So back to the keycard, and while yes, improper use of an emergency alarm can net you a hefty fine, I argue this is an emergency, because I've been told that there's a hitman in the building. Anyway, after setting off the alarm, Carl and his goons are going to race down to exactly where we need him. This very precarious ledge with no railing for some reason. I hope nothing bad happens. Carl arrives and irresponsibly stands on the edge, and I'm going to make sure to place this banana in direct sight of Mr. Ingram, then stand here. He starts to run, completely disregarding the danger of the situation, and I rush down this ladder and watch him take his descent. And there we go, 2 tragic losses at the hands of negligence and irresponsibility. All that's left for me is to vacate the premises, leaving with nothing more than I came with. So that's a lawful playthrough of Dubai, and I can sleep soundly tonight. Getting the targets to slip off the building is actually much harder than it looks. Finding out how to do it for Carl genuinely took like 2 hours. The slipping just stops the running animation, you have to rely on the guy ragdolling the right way, and obviously this can only be done in high places without railings, which luckily for us Dubai has these too. Next, we arrive in the fictional land of England, where our goal is to take out Margaret Thatcher and steal a file. Borrow a file. The context of this mission is that Thatcher's husband has been killed and a private investigator has been hired to find out who did it. So, we're going to start as said investigator and do some snooping. What's good about this is that we are given a full permission to navigate all parts of the mansion, so we don't have to worry about finding disguises. We start at the scene of the crime and begin scanning all the clues in this room. Basically, depending on the conclusion we come to in our investigation, our target will react in different ways. And my plan is to convince Madame Carlyle, I can't be bothered to call her Thatcher anymore, to convince her that her husband Zachary took his own life. To do this, we're going to go to this room which the door to is locked. So we're going to climb out this window and go around. This isn't illegal, it's just cool. Plus, we've been given permission to go into all the rooms in the house, so we're not trespassing. Next, we are going to pick up this cane, which counts as illegal, but just isn't, considering that if we're seen carrying it, we don't get into trouble. And we're going to head to this part of the house, where there's a hidden switch. Using our highly illegal walking stick, we are able to press the switch and open a secret room, where we find the item we need, this letter. Basically, this brings up something both Alexa and Zachary did, which we can use to convince Alexa that Zachary ended his life due to guilt. So, we're going to conclude our investigation where the evidence supports our theory that Zachary took his own life. Now I know you're going to ask, Window Lich, is that what actually happened to Zachary? And my answer to that is that you shouldn't ask that question. Anyway, we're ready to present our findings to our target, citing the letter as our source. She seems quite upset by this, but I'm just doing my job. As a reward, she willingly gives us the file we needed, so now all we need to do is find a way to... I didn't know she was gonna... that's our mission complete, yay! Unfortunately for us, things only get harder from here. Berlin is a unique mission given the fact that there aren't 1 or 2 targets, but rather 10. Luckily we only need to get 5, but that's still almost impossible to do within the law, so I may or may not have to, you know, bend the rules a bit. And though there's 10 options for us, some are just not possible to get in the context of this challenge. For example, Agent Tremaine here just spends all his time at his sniper's nest, and the only way to take him out is by shooting him with your own sniper, or by putting rat juice in his drink. So if we disregard Tremaine and all the other targets who aren't really an option, we're left with 3. And 2 of those are debatable, so you're gonna have to be the judges here. Anyway, the level takes place in a nightclub in an abandoned factory. I'm gonna start as the DJ and bring our old friend the banana. We immediately leave the decks and head upstairs, borrowing this here screwdriver. Next we're gonna go over to this little bridge thing that overlooks the club, where our first target is situated. Behind is this big light fixture that reacts to the music, and we're gonna listen to these two's conversation.
That looks a little precarious, don't you think?
Well, the tree is fine. People always so over the top of regulations for these kind of things.
Well, worst case scenario, people probably won't even be sober enough to notice that anything's wrong.
Nah, worst case scenario, it'll electrocute everyone nearby, but as long as you're not too close to the tree trunk, everyone should be safe.
Oh, cool. That's incredibly reassuring. I'll make sure the lawyers have your number.
So, what I'm gathering is that this light fixture is extremely dangerous and this place should have been shut down years ago. This sounds like a whole lot of not my fault.
But fine, it'll be your ass if something goes wrong.
Madam, I couldn't agree with you more. So anyway, we're gonna lure this guy away and wait for her to turn around and do some electrician work that may or may not prove deadly. Back down to the DJ booth we go after returning the screwdriver to where we found it, and you might notice that another target walks across the bridge, giving me an idea. If we time the drop right, this could make our job much easier. So, I wait for them both to get close and start the music, causing the tree behind them to catch fire and electrocute target 1 and target 2. And if you thought the legality for these two was debatable, wait for 4 and 5. Anyway, my job in the club is done. It's time for us to go back up to the surface, where we navigate to the outside bar. Here is where Agent Swan patrols, and he irresponsibly stands very close to this gross stream. We're gonna do a similar setup to how we got Marcus Stuyvesant in Dubai, the old banana greed trick. Blinded by the money, he fails to see the slipping hazard and... just give it a sec. Just... Yay! That's 3. And now we get to the legally very questionable actions. These next 2 were the best ways I could find in the context of this challenge. I tried. Anyway, I'm gonna navigate to this staff room and borrow this club crew outfit, then head out here, where Agent Thames is chilling. And my plan is... that. First I go to this bin where I find this fuse cell, and since it was going to be thrown away, I might as well use it for myself. We're then going to go over to the crane and use the fuse to power it, which makes Thames stand directly underneath it for some reason, despite the precariously hanging cement wheel directly above him. I climb up, the wheel gets dropped, and so does Thames. Yeah, I'm the one who powered the crane, but why would you stand directly underneath it? Whatever, we've got one guy left, and for this we're going to go back down to where we started, and where Agent Chamberlain is patrolling. Our plan requires us to get past this door, but we can't open it without a keycard, so we're just going to wait for him to open the door and follow him in. Now we're in, we can see another accident waiting to happen, a water cooler next to an electrical outlet. All of these deaths could have been avoided with a simple safety inspection, except from the banana, that's just Swan being a fool. We take this disguise and the screwdriver, do some more electrical work, and start a water leak. Chamberlain sees the surging water and instead of avoiding it and calling for help, decides to walk into it and die. And we've completed our mission. I then return the screwdriver and all the disguises I used. Now, did I break the law by tampering? Maybe, but these accidents will probably cause the error to be shut off permanently, saving the lives of actual innocents. All of this could have been avoided with a simple safety inspection. Except the banana. Now to Chongqing, China. Back to normality with just 2 targets, Imogen Royce and Hush. What's different about this mission is that both targets are holed up in their respective buildings. Normally at least one of the targets roams around in the more public areas, but that isn't the case here. Meaning we might have to do a bit of trespassing here and there, yeah. We're gonna start as an analyst in the secret ICA data facility, where Royce resides. Her job as the head of the facility requires her to check up on the highly guarded data core, which only she and her right-hand man are allowed to enter. But what if I told you we could take her out in the core without me even being in there, and without me actually pulling the trigger? To do this, we're going to use the classic greed trick to distract these guards and enter her office, where she has this control panel. One of Royce's other jobs besides maintaining the data core is to work on her prediction algorithms. With this, she has been able to, with a high degree of certainty, predict what would happen if she were to fire some of her employees. For example, she predicts that if she were to fire Jeremy Bolt, who guards the entrance to the core, he would leave his post and call his mum for advice. If Sharon Reed were to be fired, Royce predicts she would finish her work by performing core maintenance, which cleanses the data core by setting it on fire. I don't know how that works, as long as the safety mechanism is on. Finally, if Alicia Reynolds were to be fired, Royce predicts that she will get angry and take her revenge by turning off the safety mechanism. How interesting. Now, if we play this right, we can... Oh shit, she's coming in. I'm hiding in the locker. This isn't illegal, by the way. After she leaves, we're gonna... Oh god. Don't snitch. Anyway, our first action is going to be to fire Jeremy Bolt, causing him to leave the door to the core unguarded. We wait a bit, and then fire Alicia. As predicted, she walks towards the core, and since Jeremy isn't guarding it, she goes in and turns off the safety mechanism. We then wait for Royce to go back into the core and finally fire Sharon Reed, who, being the saint she is, finishes her work and cleanses the core. Since the safety is off, the computer ignores that someone is inside, and Royce meets her fiery end, without me even being the one who turned off the mechanism. Beautiful. It's time for me to leave the facility and emerge on the neon streets of Chongqing. Hush is located in this building, and this guy is just evil. He's performing mind-controlling experiments on the homeless, so we gotta put a stop to it. It's a highly guarded place, so we're gonna have to do a teensy bit of trespassing and parkour to get to where we need, but first I need to get this street guard outfit. We climb up the outside of the building and onto floor 4, where we find this researcher outfit. There is actually a really good way of taking out Hush via his own hubris, but that requires me to knock out this poor innocent homeless man, and I'm definitely being turned away from the pearly gates if I do that, so we're gonna have to settle for a bit more electrician work. Once again, another safety inspection has failed to occur, probably due to the fact that this is highly illegal experimentation this guy is doing, so I don't even feel bad. But to get Hush here, we're gonna need to sabotage these test pods, and look, sabotage is a strong word. I don't even know what this does, but these guys seem in pain, and I think sabotaging helps them, so I'm actually the hero here. If we do this enough, it causes the system to need resetting, which brings Hush out of hiding. I do the same stuff as I did for Chamberlain's demise, and our target meets the same fate. And since I'm such a law-abiding citizen, I repair the outlet afterwards. All that's left is to return the outfits and the screwdriver and leave, and on to the final level. Now technically there is a level after this one, but I consider it to be more of a linear conclusion to the story, rather than an actual sandbox mission, so we're not going to do it. Our final destination is an Argentinian vineyard and wine production factory. Our targets being Don Archibald Yates and Tamara Vidal. Also Diana Burnwood is here and we've got to make sure not to eliminate her, and I'm pretty good at that. This one requires a lot of setup, so let's get started. We spawn by the sniper's nest in a gaucho outfit, for the sole purpose of travelling through this tunnel and to pick up this banana without trespassing. This level has a total of 4 bananas, not including the one we bought, and lucky for us, 5 is all we need for our plan. Believe it or not, the bananas aren't actually for our targets, no classic greed trick here, but you'll have to wait and see why. Next we head down to the vineyard and factory, passing this man here, who we're going to need for our plan. He's going to take our target Vidal and our non-target Burnwood on a tour of the facility, to then meet up with Don Yates, getting our 3 protagonists in the same room. However, in order to start the tour, we're going to have to present him with evidence that the grapes from the vineyard are ready to harvest. And to do this, we're going to go inside and switch outfit. Not before grabbing Banana 3 and the worker's key. We go into the vineyard, and to collect what we need, we have to borrow this grape knife. We collect our grapes and head over to the tour guide. He's with an enforcer, shown by this white dot, meaning this guy sees through our outfit, so we have to distract him. We present the grapes, causing the guide to walk over to Vidal and Burnwood, intending to start the tour. While we wait, I go into the cinema for our 4th banana and head back to where the tour is due to start. The gang now goes through the facility, guiding me by all the weird and wonderful ways of taking out Vidal, but I can't do any of them, which is just cruel. Finally, we end up in the barrel room, where Don Yates greets the other 2 and invites them to some dinner party, which is exactly where we need them. To make sure we get free roam of the area, we're going to go here and get a mercenary outfit from this locker. We head to the basement where the little get-together is happening, but before that we need to climb up to Yates' attic, release this ladder and go down into his room, where things are going to start kicking off later. All this work is making me pretty hungry, so I decide to fetch my packed lunch and keep it in a safe space while the meeting is going on, namely these 3 exact locations. One on the balcony, one in the bathroom, and one on the other balcony. Anyway, I'm late for the dinner party, so I'm going to head down and collect the final banana on the way. Now, it's time to listen in. Mr. Yates makes an opening statement before going mute for 30 seconds. And picks up his conversation once this guy comes in. Now, the context behind this mission is pretty long to explain, and honestly, I skip all the cutscenes at the end of the mission, so I don't actually know what's going on. But basically, there's this evil organization that Yates and Vidal are part of, and that Burnwood is soon to be part of. And Yates is mad because he thinks Burnwood shouldn't be allowed to join. And in order to stop her from joining, he decides the best option is to get his guard to shoot Vidal. What? Anyway, that's 1 target down and we didn't even do anything. And even stranger, Burnwood, the one Yates actually wants to kill, just gets away with being smacked in the head. It doesn't even knock her out. Vidal got shot in the head and she isn't even the one he wanted. Oh, whatever. Diana's about to be escorted by 3 guards up to the bedroom. Important to note that she's our friend. She's the one who gives us the target info and such at the start of the missions, so we don't want her dead, and we're gonna have to help her out. Also because her dying would make us fail the mission, but that's not important. Friendship is important. Now, we're going to make sure we beat them upstairs and then hide in this cupboard. When they all arrive, we're going to have to do two things. Get a mercenary outfit, which we already have, and take out the guards. Now, how do we do this without getting physical? I don't know, but I sincerely hope the three of them don't simultaneously slip on the bananas. This is a very serious game, if you couldn't tell. But things aren't over yet. We've got to Diana safely, but Yates is still a threat. Now, Burnwood makes a plan for the final showdown. She grabs this letter opener and states that our job is to sit down and cheer her on from the sidelines. But this is it. Yates and two more goons arrive for the final confrontation, fully intent on eliminating Diana Burnwood. Yates performs his evil monologue, asking why Burnwood was being allowed to join his evil org. As she's about to tell him, he leans in, and Burnwood brandishes the letter opener, finishing the job. 2 targets down, both by proxy. But we're still in a pretty tricky situation. There are 2 guards who aren't our friends, who have just seen Diana kill their master while we watched on the sidelines. In order to actually finish the mission, we need to take out these 2. So it's time for my part of the plan. The hero to save the day is here. I stand up proud, ready to finish the job, and to do this, I run into the bathroom and hide. Lucky for us, these guys don't know who did it. And after they stop looking for me, even though Diana is right there, they just sort of stand around. Either way, we've got to take them out, otherwise Diana will perpetually stand here motionless. Now, believe it or not, in a normal playthrough, you're not actually meant to run away into the bathroom. You're really meant to shoot this winch, dropping the chandelier, then finish off this guy. Obviously, we can't do that, but I've got a couple more bananas. Guard A starts dragging Yates' body, which is absolutely the least of his concerns. So I place a banana on the stairs. He proceeds to stare at it and... Jesus Christ, he flew. But we couldn't finish the challenge without one more instance of the classic greed trick. And there we go. With the floor cleared, Diana starts to leave, and we can finally find an exit. I return all my disguises and the grape knife. And we've finished the final level. So let's recap. In Dubai, we had 2 victims to banana negligence. In Dartmoor, Thatcher commit jump off the building. Berlin involved a lot of accidents. Chongqing, we got someone else to do the job, and in Mendoza too. We stole nothing, knocked out no one apart from the guards slipping on the bananas, which isn't my fault. Stole no clothes, carried no weapons, dragged no bodies, and was an all-around good guy. Now, did we beat the whole game without breaking any laws? Probably not. I think Dubai and Dartmoor were clean. Berlin was definitely our worst, considering 4 of the kills required tampering, though we can argue that the place should have been closed years ago. Chongqing was good apart from having to do the same thing to Hush, but I think the operation he was running was far more illegal than my actions. And I'm actually very happy with how Mendoza turned out. I think we did pretty close to the absolute most law-abiding run of the game, but maybe there's things I missed. Anyway, how innocent do you think I am? Let me know, and thank you very much for watching.